Hi-ho!
It's your favorite Disney movie of all time.
Hi-ho!
It's the one you've been waiting for.
Hi-ho! Hi-ho!
And now it's finally coming to home video.
Hi-ho! Hi-ho!
Walt Disney's masterpiece, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Hooray!
It's the classic story of a beautiful princess
Who is the fairest one of all?
Snow White.
Snow White.
the evil queen who would stop at nothing to destroy her.
Poison apple. Have a bite. Then I'll be fairest in the land.
The Queen, Snow White!
And the Seven Dwarfs who came to the rescue.
We gotta save her!
It's the first time on video for Snow White. Sleepy, Doc, Bashful, Happy, Grumpy, Dopey, and Sneezy. Now you can experience all the magic, mush, and all the fun of the greatest animated motion picture of all time. Walt Disney's timeless classic, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Coming to video cassette for a very limited time. Don't miss your chance to share Disney's masterpiece with your family.
From Touchstone Home Video. Get ready for a movie the critics have unanimously declared absolutely the year's most incredible film. And an instant classic for both kids and grown-ups. Siskel and Ebert gave 2 thumbs up. Eureka! From the imagination of Tim Burton comes The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Trick or treat!
Enter an extraordinary world where every day is Halloween. And every night, Jack Skellington dreams of something more.
What's this? What's this? There's color everywhere. What's this? There's white things in the air. What's this? I can't believe my eyes. I must be dreaming. Wake up, Jack. This isn't fair. What is this?
Nice work, Bone Daddy.
When Jack discovers the magic of Christmas, he decides to fill Santa's shoes.
Making Christmas.
To the head of the team, Zero.
And now he's turning the holiday world upside down. Touchstone Home Video presents the enchanting tale of 2 very special dreamers and the holiday spirit that brought them together. Soon you can own the movie that's a fun-filled delight for the whole family. Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. Coming to video this fall. Rated PG.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Bill Nye, the Science Guy.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Science rules.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Inertia is a property of matter.
Bill Nye, the Science Guy.
T minus 7 seconds.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Welcome to another edition of Lifestyles of the Large and Extinct. Today we're going to take a look at terrible lizards, more commonly known as dinosaurs. Join me, Robin Leach, next on
Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Now, one of the coolest things about dinosaurs is that of all the millions and millions of dinosaurs that must have once lived, we only know about a few thousand. And we know about them because we found their bones. They're fossil bones. Now, fossil, that's Latin for something that's been dug up. So we've dug up dinosaur bones. That's how we know how big they were, how much they weighed, what they ate, even how fast they could run. Now, we don't know all about dinosaurs, but we do know a lot. Hey, Dr. Sampson, can you throw me a bone? Now, becoming a fossil is no easy thing. First, the plant or animal has to die, and then it has to get buried, usually by erosion. You know, rain falls down, washes dirt downhill, and covers things. Although sometimes it can be volcanoes and cover things with ash. This is a piece of a backbone from a maiasaur. It's probably about 30 feet long, about 10 meters long. And they weighed 2.5 tons, 5,000 pounds. Now, how much do you weigh? Like 50 pounds, 100 pounds? 5,000 pounds. Now, how do we know it was that big? we dug it up. See, we didn't dig her up. We dug this up. Note the resemblance? See, we don't just dig up dinosaur bones, like this would be Maiasaur's shoulder bone. We also have found their nests and groups of their nests. That's right. She laid eggs in a nest, which she kept warm with rotting leaves. She laid about a dozen eggs at a time. The kids were about this big, and they got out of their eggs by breaking through the top of the shell. We can even figure out what they ate. Like tonight, it looks like it's berry salad. Maiasaurs always ate their vegetables. Now, let's say you were a dinosaur, an Apatosaurus. Yeah, Apatosaurus. And you were walking along, minding your own business, and there was a flood. And you got buried fairly quickly. You drowned, and silt and mud washed down over your bones and covered you up. Then, over time, minerals worked their way into the little gaps in your bones. Your bones became permineralized. Minerals all the way through. Okay, and you sat there for 65 million years! Then, about 100 years ago, a paleontologist comes along. This would be Mary. Looking carefully, maybe poking around. She goes, oh, what's this? And she very carefully brushes away the sand and dirt that you've been buried in. And, oh, look, an Apatosaurus. Yeah, Apatosaurus. Quite a wild time for a dinosaur.
You can make a fossil at home. All you need is a dinosaur bone, an ancient saltwater sea, and a fossil burial bed. Here's what you do. You cut your bone out of an old sponge. Your mom or dad may have one that you can use. That's perfect. Then you need to make an ancient saltwater sea. So add 100 milliliters of salt to 250 milliliters of warm water. It's gotta be way salty.
Now you need a place to bury a fossil burial bed. Pour some sand into a bowl like this. Leave a little room at the top.
Now you need to bury your bone. Bury it deep in the middle of the fossil burial bed. The sand is like a riverbank where the dinosaur may have come to drink millions of years ago.
Pour the salt water over the buried bone.
Take your bowl and put it someplace sunny, like a windowsill.
In a few days, dig up your fossil. The salt crystals fill in the little spaces in the sponge, making it stiff and hard, just like a fossil.
Real fossils didn't get filled in with salt as much as other minerals, but the idea is the same.
This is Bruno.
Hi.
This is Bruno's femur. This is Christy. This is Christy's femur.
But it used to belong to a dinosaur called the Barosaurus.
Where can I find a Barosaurus femur?
Buried in the ground or in a museum.
What if I want a new one?
You can't get a new one. Giant dinosaurs were gone a long time before we got here.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure, and their fossils are really old.
So I missed real giant dinosaurs?
Yeah, by a bunch.
Wait a minute. How do we know that dinosaurs really did exist, huh?
The first clue that dinosaurs once lived is right here. This is solid rock. If you look carefully, right here are solid bones. These are dinosaur bones from a very large dinosaur. Probably a sauropod. Could have been Apatosaurus, Barosaurus, Camarasaurus, Diplodocus, something very large. And it's buried in this rock. Also in this formation, people have found stegosauruses, all kinds of wild dinosaurs that lived about 150 million years ago. It was a big dinosaur bone party here. Apparently, the dinosaurs died real suddenly, and they were washed downstream by a river and covered with sand. The sand and the bones turned to stone. So right here, a bone like this is the first clue for scientists for knowing that dinosaurs once lived.
Hi, I'm Ivy. That's my brother James.
Hi.
And this is his room. It's looked like this pretty much since, well, forever, I guess. Usually I don't come in here because I think it's sad. But today, for the first time ever,
All this junk is gonna come in handy. You see, looking for something in a mess like this is a lot like digging for fossils. The deeper you dig, the older stuff you'll find. There might even be stuff you don't want to find.
Hey, my last report card. I haven't seen it since the July 20th game. I took the homer away from JJ.
Just like a fossil, the longer something's been left on the floor, the more there is on top of it. Scientists can learn a lot about dinosaurs from looking at how the fossils have been buried, how deep they are, and what's around them. And that's what makes fossils so exciting, even the ones you find in a room like this.
Consider the following. Dinosaurs lived about 160 million years, and they all died out about 65 million years ago, all at once. Now, why is that? Many scientists now believe it might have been a meteorite or groups of meteorites, big rocks from space. Let's say this box of flour is like the surface of the Earth, and this ball of pepper is like a meteorite. A meteorite that would have come hurtling toward our planet at over 100,000 kilometers a second. So imagine, 65 million years ago, and using the slingshot of science, we'll create a meteorite impact on the Earth's surface. See? It forms a crater, and dust is ejected into the atmosphere. Now, if enough dust were thrown into the atmosphere and it could stay there long enough, it would block the light from the sun and kill the plants that the dinosaurs depended on to live. Now, there's another reason we think the dinosaurs were killed by meteorites. All over the Earth, at about the same level we find fossilized dinosaur bones, we find this weird metal called iridium. But we don't find it very much on the Earth. But we find it all the time in meteorites. So maybe this layer of iridium all over the Earth was deposited by the same meteor or meteorites that killed the dinosaurs. Now, you know, the Earth is hit by meteorites all the time.
What?
It could happen again. Thank you for considering the following.
What's wrong with this picture?
Dinosaurs and humans never lived at the same time.
Yeah, all right.
This is a cast of a myosaur egg. This is the femur of a 3-foot-long myosaur. And this is the femur of an adult myosaur. It was about 30 feet long. My name is Rebecca Laws. Basically, I spend my summers digging up dinosaur bones. I used to want to be a veterinarian and switched over to dead animals, essentially. This is a baby myosaur skull. It's from a dinosaur that was about 3 feet long. And this is a skull, a cast of a skull from an adult myosaur, a herbivore. Paleontology is important because we're able to reconstruct past ecosystems and environments. And by doing that, we can compare them to our environment today and help us understand what's going on with our ecosystem and maybe ways we can improve it.
Advancing biologically takes more than just a thought. Some species have changed over time, and others they have not. Evolving seems like such a pain. Sometimes you wanna go where everything has stayed the same, and non-seed plants have all remained. You want a place where major traits have largely gone unchanged. You want a place where everything has stayed the same.
Say, did you ever wonder what the world would be like if the dinosaurs were still alive? Sure you do. We all do. I know I do. In fact, that's all I think about. What kind of dinosaur would I be? I think I would be a brachiosaurus. Like just the other day, I was buying a new car, and I thought, what would it be like if this car salesman were a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Would he still give me the same deal? I doubt it. Hey, there's a thought. You could hire a dinosaur to put a swimming pool in your backyard. All he'd have to do is show up for 5 minutes, whop, instant swimming pool. Just get a tile guy in there, bam. It'd be a great world. I doubt it. You know, speaking of dinosaurs, did you realize that chickens were a lot like little dinosaurs with feathers? I didn't, until I read a book called The Dinosaur Chicken Conspiracy. But apparently the poultry farmers don't want us to know anything about it, so they've hushed it up. Put the kibosh on it.
Ferns will return after these messages.
No, wait, no, I'm not finished yet.
Yeah, all right, go ahead.
No, I was going to talk about the dinosaurs and the potential growth of the garment industry if they were still alive.
Sure.
I mean, anybody could figure that out. How much tweed do you have to...
Ferns will return after these messages.
Here's a way to see how footprints can tell you things about who and what made them.
We're going to be doing this with butcher paper and paint.
'Cause it's messy.
Yeah.
Nicely done. Now I'll step into the blue paint and run.
Yellow. Hopping paint.
Now I'm gonna do my feet and hands. And if you do a comparison, it's pretty easy to see the different kinds of prints go with different kinds of moving.
And that goes for dinosaur prints, too.
You know, I think this would look really cool hanging on the wall.
That's funny. I was thinking the same thing.
What's wrong with this picture?
I told you, dinosaurs and humans never lived at the same time.
Hi, I'm Robin Leach. Thanks to modern technology, we can gather ideas about the lifestyles of our dearly departed dinosaur friends while their majestic homes were maintained on luscious landscapes with spectacular streams and gigantic gardens of plenty. We can safely assume that no dinosaur danced and sang the way that is commonly portrayed on television. Perhaps in another million years or so, we too shall be looked upon with the same sense of wonder and astonishment. I thank you for joining me, and until we meet again, here's wishing you fossilized wishes and dinosaur dreams.
Now, how do we know that dinosaurs died out 65 million years ago? Well, in the air we breathe is a gas called argon. Now, it's colorless. You can see right through it. As long as we're alive and breathing, we absorb a little argon in our bones. It doesn't hurt us or anything. Now, dinosaurs must have breathed air with argon in it too. And when you stop breathing, some of the argon slowly goes away. So scientists measure the amount of argon that's still in fossil dinosaur bones, and they can figure out how long ago they must have stopped breathing. 65 million years ago!
My name's David Smith. I'm a Park Service ranger, and you're at a National Park Service site named Dinosaur National Monument. I imagine most of you came here to check out dinosaurs. We know absolutely nothing about dinosaurs and their lifestyles. The only way we could actually find out about these things would be if we could go back in time. And I think we can do that today. Can you help me? And you two up on the rocks, can you help me? Has anyone here ever been a dinosaur? I need you to become dinosaurs. I need you to use your imaginations to show me what you think dinosaurs would do. Understand? Okay. And I want you to remember that some dinosaurs walk on 4 legs. Some dinosaurs walk on 2 legs. Some dinosaurs wrestle all the time. Some dinosaurs eat all the time. Some dinosaurs probably even howled at the moon. Okay, dinosaurs, do your stuff. Move about. Move about. Come on, move. Okay, what can we see by studying these dinosaurs? I'm noticing some aggression right away between the males. Lots of aggression between the males. The females seem to be fleeing the area. Now, notice the colors on this dinosaur right here. This camouflage color. Notice that this animal's duckbill is detachable. It comes on and off. Well, why did all these animals die here all at the same time? Could it possibly have been because of a large seasonal flood that came through and washed the dinosaurs away, killing them, killing all the dinosaurs?
So, where are you taking me?
Oh, we're just gonna go for a walk, check some things out.
So, can anybody become a paleontologist?
Anybody can become a paleontologist. All you've got to do is have an interest in studying old life forms. Think about it, Diplodocus, bigger than 100 feet long. It's hard to imagine an animal that long today. We also found animals here that you could hold in my hand. Dinosaurs this big, baby dinosaurs. Stegosaurus was there, Allosaurus was showing up, Ceratosaurus. These are all animals that lived at the same time.
Now, people say, why study dinosaurs? Why study dinosaurs? Are you kidding? They lived, what, in an ecosystem. That's right, dinosaurs had their own ecosystem.
That's right, dinosaurs had their own ecosystem. Dino didn't mean they were like animals. And what happened to them?
Nobody knows. They're all gone. Their ecosystem has changed completely. Now, how do we know about dinosaurs and dino ecosystems? We dug it up.
What's wrong with this picture?
Remember, dinosaurs and humans never lived at the same time. Got it?
Yeah, all right.
Good evening, sports fans. Timmy Tucker here with Lance Yardstick for what has to be the biggest game of all time, the terrestrial surface dwellers versus the March of Time. And this is the one we've all been waiting for.
That's right, Timmy. What we're about to witness is the culmination of 4.6 billion years of preparation.
And there's the start of the game, and the March of Time is kicking off, and Og Simpson catches the ball on the 0-yard line.
You know, Timmy, if the history of the Earth were laid out on a football field like a timeline, the 0-yard line would be when Earth began about 4.6 billion years ago.
That's right, Lance, a very long time ago indeed. And Simpson is breaking the ball down to the 20-yard line now.
The 20-yard line, that would be when primitive life forms began appearing on Earth about 3.5 billion years ago.
Simpson crosses the 50 now. 45, 40, 35, 30. He's getting close now. 25. He's on the 20-yard line.
By the way, the 20-yard line, that would be when land plants and fish appeared on the Earth about 425 million years ago.
Simpson is now drawing a crowd at the 10-yard line.
That's only 225 million years ago, about when the dinosaurs appeared.
He's down to the 9 now, the 8, the 7.
65 million years ago, more or less when the dinosaurs became extinct.
5, 4, 3, 2, touchdown, fumble! Wait a minute, what happened down there? Was it a touchdown or not? The officials are measuring now. Let's take a closer look now with the Magnacam.
It looks like that fumble occurred within the 1-yard line, actually about the 3/4 inch line or the 2 centimeter line. That's when human beings finally showed up on the planet, only about 1 million years ago.
Not really very long ago in Earth's history, Lance. Now, wait a minute. They say they need an even closer measurement now, so let's go down and look at this with the microcam.
That looks to be about 0.5 of an inch, or 13 micrometers, or 1 tissue paper's width from the goal line. And on the other side of that piece of tissue paper, an almost unmeasurable distance, 2/3 of 1 micrometer. That's where Bill Nye was born.
Who's Bill Nye?
This is a dinosaur, and this is a dinosaur too. Creatures that lived a while back, you see, a long time before me and you. They were big, and they were scaly, and there were thousands all over the place. But keep in mind, that was a long time before buildings and cars and the human race, Mr. Dino. Mr. Dino, yeah. This rap's about dinos, man, who were extinct and have been for years. It's only 'cause of fossils, see, that we even know they were here. Fossils are things you can dig, you know, like bones and rocks and such. And there aren't that many, and they're hard to find, but when we do, they tell us so much about Mr. Dino. Mr. Dino, yeah.
Well, that's our show. You'll excuse me. Got some serious bones to pick.
Produced in association with the National Science Foundation.
Stay tuned. Our next episode is explosive. It's about the Earth's crust. Well, that's our show. Remember, hey, dinosaurs. Ready? Well, that's our show. Remember, hey. Okay, here we go. Oh, sorry. Well, sorry. Ready? Okay, here we go. Hey, we know dinosaurs once lived because we found their fossilized bones. B, humans came along. Okay, ready? Let's do it. Let's go. Well, that's our show. Oh, sorry. Well, that's our show. Remember, A, dinosaurs once lived, and sorry. A, we know that dinosaurs once lived because we found their fossilized bones. We dug them up. And B, humans came along long after dinosaurs died out. They lived a long time ago, long before us. Well, if you excuse me, I've got some serious bones to pick. See you around the dig.
Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill Nye the Science Guy.
This is a volcano. So is this. So is this! Whoa! Actually, volcanoes are supposed to do this. It's one way for the inside of the Earth to get to the outside. Let's take a closer look, shall we? Well, maybe not. I said, maybe not. Hey, hold on, hey!
Bill Nye the Science Guy. Brought to you by molten lava. It's hot, it's rock, but it doesn't roll.
You and I live on the Earth's crust, a thin layer of solid rock that's all around the Earth. Now, what's underneath the Earth's crust is different. It's melted rock, it's molten rock. Now, how do we know that? Because they're volcanoes. Let's say this loaf of bread is like the Earth. See? It's round like the Earth. And just like the Earth, it's got a thin, hard crust. But unlike the Earth, we can easily cut through it here in the lab. All we need is this table and this laboratory chainsaw. See, it's got a thin crust, just like the Earth. Although the crust is thin, it's thick enough to sustain life. All living things, all animals and plants, including you and me, we all live on top of the Earth's crust. So that's good. That is good. Now, how do we know that what's underneath the Earth's crust is different than what's on top? Well, you ever heard of volcanoes? So let's take a look now at the big ball Earth of science. See, it's surrounded by a thin, hard crust. And everything is on top of the crust. Even the oceans are sloshing around on top of the crust. Isn't that wild? Let's take a look at what's inside. Here we go. There you go. There's the inside of the Earth. You got your core right here. That's solid iron. Then there's an outer core. That's iron and other metals. And then this part's called the mantle. It's gooey like hot tar. Then out here, that's the crust. It's thin and cool. The core, that's around 1,500 degrees Celsius. The mantle, that's around 1,200 degrees Celsius. I mean, that's way over 2,000 degrees. And then the crust, that's cool and hard as a rock. Now, even though the Earth's crust is really thin, we've never been able to drill all the way through it to the molten rock of the Earth's mantle. That's why to scientists like you, volcanoes are so important. They give us sort of a window into what's underneath the Earth's crust. I think this is her place.
Phil, what are you doing here?
Hi, Jenna.
Aren't you supposed to be doing your show?
Yeah, we're right in the middle of it. I'll tell you what, I need a favor. I'd like to boil an egg.
An egg? Okay, come on in. You're doing that egg as the Earth demonstration, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right, because the shell of an egg is a lot like the crust of the Earth.
You know, you're absolutely right, Bill. And of course, it's the outside of the Earth, the crust that protects us from the inside, the core, the mantle, and all that really hot stuff that's happening only kilometers under our feet, right?
Yeah, right. See, if the Earth were like an egg, the Earth's crust would be about as thick as an egg shell.
Yeah, and the white is like the mantle, and the yolk is like the core. But of course, we can eat the egg.
That's right. Science is great.
And nobody cooks an egg of science like you do, Science Guy.
Oh, golly, Jenna.
Hey, don't you have a show to get back to?
Yeah.
New ways to roast weenies on the next Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Richie, eat your crust. Eat your crust, Richie.
Son, eat your crust.
So we're standing in a volcano. DZ, you're addicted to volcanoes.
Well, I am. They're one of my favorite things. I'm a geologist, and my specialty is volcanology.
Now, where are we, Dan?
Well, Bill, we're standing in the crater at Mount St. Helens, inside of what used to be the volcano before 1980. This is an explosive volcano.
It blew up. Just blew up. It's not one of those oozing hot rock, hot lava volcanoes, no. It just builds up and then...
Mount St. Helens was erupting when some of the first pioneers and settlers came out to this area. Mount St. Helens was erupting. It erupted off and on from the year 1800 through about 1857.
So it could erupt again.
And it will. Mount St. Helens is a very young volcano. It's a very active volcano. It's building itself up and then destroying itself, and it's going to erupt again. We don't know exactly when.
Now, there's two kinds of volcanoes. Some that ooze molten rock, and others that explode. Oh, sorry. So, we're about to set off our laboratory scale model volcano of science. What we're going to do is mix some chemicals together that will cause gas to form in a liquid. This is very similar to what happens in real volcanoes. The gas bubbles forming in the liquid help drive the lava out of the cone of the volcano. It's pretty wild. See, as the lava runs down the side of the volcano, it builds up the cone, making it thick. This is what happens in real volcanoes. Now, the way we made this lava here in the lab was mixing vinegar and baking soda. They're chemicals that you can get in the grocery store, and they make carbon dioxide gas. It's the same gas you find in soft drinks. See? Pretty cool.
He's one hot cop who really loses his cool. Johnny Crust.
Who's the thinnest-skinned cop in history? Who's burning down below? Whose temper flares with a white-hot glare like a human volcano? Well, it's Johnny Crust, and it's just cool as you please. But internally, subdermally, he's 900 degrees. Well, it's Johnny Crust, a cop you best not mock. 'Cause listen, bud, he ain't got blood, no Johnny bleeds molten rock. 6 feet a cop, he just don't stop until he's made to bust. But Johnny's skin is paper thin, yeah, they call him Johnny Crust. He's Johnny Crust, better take his temperature. 'Cause if you ain't learned, bub, you'll get burned by Johnny's molten core.
Johnny Crust, coming this fall on the Bill Nye Television Network.
We were there for lunch.
Magma is hot. We have some magma here in our magma oven of science. When I say hot, I mean hot. This is a feather. Hot. Goofy kitchen fish mitten. Hot. A wiener. Now that is one hot dog. Now, the whole Earth is this hot, or hotter, except for a thin, cool layer that we can walk around on. That's the crust. Whoa. Yeah.
Do you guys realize what you've just been walking over? The guts of Mount St. Helens, the inside of a volcano. 40,000 years of rocks came spewing out and filled up this valley. So what we're going to do today is we're going to start monitoring the biological recovery. The volcano actually created habitat that has allowed a lot of life to come in, and come in great numbers. They're flourishing. I call this the reassembly of life, because one piece by one piece, all the players are coming back in. It's really getting interesting out in the volcanic landscape because there's so much going on.
Richie, eat your crust.
Son, eat your crust.
Hot. Volcanoes, geysers. Heat from under the Earth's crust. Hot. This is a geyser. It's just like a volcano, except instead of erupting with melted rock or hot lava, it's boiling water and steam. The energy comes from the same place, underneath the thin Earth's crust. Geothermal science!
You can make your own geyser right at home. Like any geyser, this involves very hot water, so be sure to have an adult around. Here's what you need. A heat-resistant glass funnel.
If it's glass, it has to be heat-resistant. Hence the term, heat-resistant glass.
Next, you need a pot to boil the water in. This kind of geyser looks the coolest in a glass pot. Set the funnel in the pot and get the water boiling. The tin foil acts like the Earth's crust. In a few moments, you'll have a geyser. The water boils in the bottom of the pot, making water vapor. The vapor expands and forces water out of the tube. But the water doesn't come out all at once like a hose. Instead, it pulses. It only squirts once in a while. The same is true in the Earth. Like Old Faithful, the pressure builds up and forces water out of the ground. Not that bad.
Science!
Science. Science.
Hello. Today on Consider the Following, I'd like you to, well, consider the following. You and I are sitting on the Earth's crust, and it seems pretty solid, doesn't it? But now scientists believe that the Earth's crust is actually made of plates. Not cheap plastic picnic plates like this, but tectonic plates. And tectonic is from the Latin word for build. So the Earth's crust is built of plates. Plate tectonics. And the plates are floating on the Earth's mantle, which you know is molten metal. And it's kind of like corn syrup. In fact, scientists actually use corn syrup like this to do studies of what's underneath the Earth's crust. Scientists first caught on to the idea of tectonic plates when they realized how well South America seems to fit in next to Africa. Not that bad. So take a look here. Here we have the camp stove of science. And in it we have models of tectonic plates. Now, see, right now they're all together. And scientists believe that at one time, all the plates of the Earth's crust were one piece called Pangea. And Pangea, well, that means whole Earth, see? Not that bad. Let's say this is the Earth's crust. You see, where the plates, the tectonic plates, are spreading apart, that's where we get volcanoes. And where the plates are coming together, that's where we get mountains. Now, you know, the plates are still moving even today. In fact, North America is moving away from Europe about this much every year, about 2 centimeters, about an inch every year. Well, thanks for joining us on Consider the Following.
Okay, it's real important to have shades on in here, or glasses, because sometimes things will pop in here. This is molten glass. Watch what happens. Today we're going to make a volcano made out of molten glass. And you will see that the molten glass is exactly the same as the lava. It's a molten fluid. Very, very hot. But when it cools down, it'll be hard as a rock, just the same as volcanic glass. Kaboom! I reckon that's just about the right temperature for marshmallows.
Now, the Earth's crust is pretty thin, but compared to you and me, it's pretty thick, and some parts of it can get hollow. Look at this. We're in a cave in a mountain in Montana. Now, this cave started out about 300 million years ago when an ancient sea laid down a layer of limestone. It's like chalk. Then just the other day, about 3.5 million years ago, a river was running through here and it hollowed it out. Now check this out. The Earth's crust has cooled so much and become so rigid that it can support the ceiling of a huge room like this in this cave. Isn't this wild? So, stalactite, stalagmite, tight, mite, tight, mite. So, Cass, what do?
I mine for sapphires in the Earth's crust.
Right around here?
Right around here.
How do we go about getting them out?
We dig for them, and usually we need a shovel, a pick, and a screen. And usually the biggest person digs.
That would be me.
That would be you.
Whew, this ain't easy. This is some tough crust. Mighty tough crust.
That was the easy part. Now it's time for the hard part.
The hard part.
The hard part.
This is the hard part.
Keep shaking, science guy. The sapphires will fall to the bottom. Let's see what you got.
Wow.
The sapphires would be in the dark area.
This is a sapphire before it's cut.
And this is a sapphire after. Cool.
Very cool. Shifting tectonic plates cause earthquakes. The plates are always moving. If you were standing here, you'd be saying, "Whoa!"
This is a device that monitors the movement of the Earth's plates. It's a seismograph, and it detects earthquakes. Some earthquakes are small, some are very big, and some are huge. Whoa!
Here's a cool trick you can do to show you how scientists know that the Earth's core is solid. See, let's say this is the Earth. Now, when an earthquake happens somewhere over here, people feel it on the other side of the Earth, way over here. Now, let's say we could cut the Earth in half. We'd get what? Right, a circle. Maybe a circle like this one. Roger, you ready to help with the demonstration?
Roger.
Let's say this can is the Earth's core, and this flashlight is like an earthquake happening somewhere in the world. Let's say, right here. Roger?
It's like people on the other side of the world feeling earthquakes. As you can see, I can't see the light.
As I come over here, I can.
So he makes a mark.
I come over here, and I can still see it.
So he makes another mark. Now let's say there's an earthquake happening somewhere else. Let's say over here.
I still can't see it in the middle, but I come over here, I can see it.
So Roger makes a mark.
And I can come back over here and see it again.
And he makes another mark. Now we're going to do what scientists like to call connect the dots. Here you go, Roger. Let's start with our second earthquake there. This would be line number 1, number 2, and number 3, and line number 4.
Look, now we have the same shape and size as a can.
See, scientists figure if the Earth were liquid all the way through, when an earthquake happens on this side, people would feel it all along on this side. But that's not what happens. Something blocks the earthquake waves. That's why scientists figure the Earth has a solid core. And from here to here, it's 2,800 kilometers.
That's filthy.
Eat your crust, Richie. Richie, eat your crust. You should have eaten your crust.
Tectonics are the key, changing things on land and sea. Volcanoes, earthquakes and such bring up all kinds of stuff. Without crust, we'd all die. Keeps all the magma down inside. It's really cool now, don't you see? Here comes the word, now sing with me. Crust. Crust. Through the Earth's different crust, the thinnest part of the planet. Crust.
Well, that's our show. Kind of hot. I mean, cool. Well, you know what I mean. You guys fly safely. I've got some serious volcanology to do. See you around the crust.
Produced in association with the National Science Foundation.